global positioning system infrastructure, GPS signals are being used by a variety of applications in mobile devices, maps obviously being one that we almost all use every single day. Dan, with AppyWay, you've been able to create an application leveraging GPS infrastructure and a variety of other inputs to really increase the efficiency of the nightmare people have parking. Looking for parking spots, finding out what's empty, finding out the rules around a parking spot, extremely complicated and inefficient today. And Chris, with What3words, you've translated all GPS coordinates into a 3-meter square location using 3 words. So people making the mistake of having such long coordinates and making mistakes around that has been mitigated greatly. How has your application improved productivity?
So UPS say that for every driver, that every mile which is wasted, that amounts to a $50 million which they're wasting per year. So we're striving to make people not waste time and money by getting 3 meters of precision. People are used to using addresses. It would be amazing if people could just use GPS coordinates, but they don't because they're really long and complicated. So we simplify that by naming each 3-meter square in the world with just 3 words so that they can just put that into the navigation and get to exactly where they want to go.
And Dan, you've had a really similar experience in terms of increasing enterprise productivity on the high street setting.
Our system both does digital transformation for the local authorities to manage their curbside. It's only 4 inches of real estate, but it's a monolithic beast in terms of politics, policies, regulation. But once you unlock that sort of the roadblock, the digital roadblock, you can then give drivers the best curbside access. And they know where to go, where not to go, and then you can then increase efficiency. So it's optimization for both public and private sector.
How much have you been able to increase revenue using your app?
We've seen that customers are spending sort of 10 minutes on street parking longer, off street 50 minutes, 1.4 million just to the local GP, but congestion causes an 8 billion deficit in the UK just from congestion right now.
For us, there are companies like Aramex who use What3words in the Middle East, and they've actually measured it, and they say 40% of the time in the last mile when they use a 3-word address compared to a more conventional address. Even in London, we ran an experiment with a courier company here, 28% of the time saved in the last mile. I think people forget how inaccurate the things that we're putting into like websites for addresses actually are, and that extrapolates up. If you just think about the vast scale of deliveries now taking place around the world, so many countries coming into the on-demand economy, that is time that can all be saved using a 3-word address.
And when you think about the indoor applications, GPS signals don't work in a 3D environment. So how are you going to resolve that?
With the advent of 5G, people are looking at non-satellite mechanisms, beacons and all sorts of things, to actually get precision location inside buildings. So then we can start to say, well, here's 3 meters accuracy, and then things like the height, so that we can actually get deliveries to come to specific doors inside these big buildings, and then there's so much more efficiency to be had there.
And Dan, on the topic of 5G, is when you think of an Internet of Things world, an IoT world with hundreds of billions of devices connected and all looking for location information from GPS satellites, is 5G a potential solution to all of that workload?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, the future of IoT is going to be sort of pretty incredible, really, especially with connected and autonomous vehicles and the demands of the large data. So 5G is sort of essential for that. Right now, we can kind of do low latency, low data, sort of 3G is enough, 2G in some places, but for sort of that high accuracy for proper optimization, both for fleets and for cities, 5G is a really valuable tool.